Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the LASH platform. Today I'm going to go over how to dip a volume fan or volume extensions. Okay, so today's video, I'm going to kind of show you a couple points that are really important, and then hopefully you can put this into play with your normal everyday lashing. So first thing I want to talk about is your dot of adhesive. So I always recommend placing a piece of cotton-free and lint-free tape on your jade stone or palette, whatever you use to disperse your adhesive on. And the reason is that piece of tape holds your adhesive up in this little kind of mound or ball. And when you do that, it just helps you to see a lot better. So it helps you as an artist to see exactly how far in and out your extensions are going. When you don't use a piece of tape, you guys all know this, when it hits that surface, it hits and it just disperses out and it almost becomes flat. And then it's very hard to get a proper dip, okay? So I always recommend a piece of cotton-free, lint-free tape. I posted it the other day. It's that 3M. I personally use the 3M super sensitive blue tape. Now, with the adhesive mound or ball or dot, you want to make sure that you are only using the very, very top little section, okay? So when we're working with volume fans, we have multiple extensions going into one base, okay? Just like this. I drew a little diagram here, but it's kind of small. You might not be able to see it very well. But it's a bunch of extensions together that form that tip, right? Now, when you dip this, what you don't realize or what you can't see is that more adhesive. So when your base of your fan goes into the adhesive, it actually creates like a vacuum-like section and it pulls, it wicks the adhesive up into the fan, okay? So my fan here, when you're dipping, you only want to stab the base of the fan into the adhesive, and you only want it to go in a 0.5 millimeter, if you can, millimeter at the most, okay? So let's say I go and I dip just the very, very base of the fan. That's perfect, but it's gonna actually wick up more than what you think. So that's why it's so, so important when you're dipping to take a little less rather than more, because it picks up more than what you think anyway. So I've dipped my fan. I'm only going to dip the lower 0.5 millimeter, and it's going to actually wick up and pick up more adhesive than I want. Okay, so stabbing the base only. Now I did a post a few days back on this. When you're stabbing your base of your fan in the extension, when you're stabbing the fan into the adhesive, you want to make sure that the base of the fan is vertical and that you're stabbing right in and right out. I don't want any scooping. I don't want any sliding. Don't go in the side and drag it out. You're picking up too much adhesive on the fan. So if you ever see dots or a buildup of adhesive, that is way too much adhesive and it needs to be taken off. And volume fans are not like classic lashes. Classic lashes, you can dip it, and if there's an extra ball of adhesive, you can go right back into that adhesive and it kind of pulls it off because liquid sticks to liquid. But with volume fans, it picks up more and then you dip again and it sucks up more, it wicks and wicks and wicks up the adhesive. So too much adhesive is too much adhesive for the volume fan. So when you are stabbing it into the dot of adhesive, always make sure that you just go right in, right out, okay? It's not a fast stab. It's a very slow and controlled in and out motion, okay? By doing that, again, it wicks up more than what you think, and then you're able to place that volume fan, hold it for a second or two, and release it without it closing. Now, if your fans, when you place them, are closing up every time, it means there's too much adhesive, and the adhesive is now wicked up in these little sections, and it will close your fan every time, okay? So that's the number one sign that your fan's closing, or that's the number one sign that if your fans are closing is too much adhesive, okay? So a couple tips I want you to remember from this video is, number one, bases need to be vertical when you're stabbing them into the adhesive. Number two, you only want to stab a maximum of like 1 millimeter in. I say 0.5 millimeter in the volume fan because it will wick up about 1 millimeter, okay? Or I'm sorry, it will wick up double what you dipped, okay? So 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter, the fan will naturally suck up more adhesive than you think. And then always making sure vertical stabbing in, and you should be good to go. Now, volume lashing is hard. I don't want to say that this is going to make you a pro volume lash artist, but it's the little things that make a huge difference, and dipping is one thing that's so easy to fix, and it will help you so much as a lash artist. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. Be sure to tag your friends, share anyone that you think needs help or anyone that wants to learn.